I grew up eating sausage and peppers mostly in Little Italy, which was at that time around McDougal Street. And man, I loved that stuff. And as the years went by, store-bought sausage got sort of worse and worse. And I was wondering what to do. And then one day, 25, 30 years ago, I stumbled into this place in Southport, Connecticut, where the guy who owned it, Ed, was making handmade sausage patties out of ground pork and spices, slapping them together like a burger, putting them on a roll. That's the best thing, and that's what we're going to do right now. There are a number of keys to good sausage, and some people may not like to hear this, but one of them is fat. The other is good spices, and the third is pork. I mean, pork makes the best sausage. But what you don't need is to encase the sausage. A patty is in many ways better than a link because you have more surface area and you get better browning. This is a high-fat dish, but we're going to start with the low-fat quotient, which is fennel. And I think you put a little real fennel in a fennel sausage and you get super, super flavor. So fennel and fennel seed, a lot, and garlic, because what's a sausage without garlic? And grind that up. Now, if you have a bigger food processor than this, you can do this all at once, but I'm going to have to do it in 3 stages, as you'll see. So grind that up. So it's kind of chopped oniony. It's important to use fennel here, you can use some onion, mix some onion in, but none of this apple thing, or forget that. You want a little bit of crunch. Now the fat. The good sausage is 30% fat. So we're doing 25% as an accommodation to those of you who think 30 sounds like a lot. But I snuck some fat into the meat also. This is fat from pork shoulder, and that's also the cut of meat you should be using. You need a couple pounds of pork shoulder, which usually will have a nice layer of fat on it that you cut off and grind separately. Okay, so this needs to be ground as if you were grinding meat. Again, you probably have a better food processor than this, but we have a very limited budget. Ground pork, fat. You know, it may look like it, but this is definitely not smoked salmon with cream cheese. We need meat and we need salt. So here's the meat. You know, you don't want to puree this, you want meat here. It could be no, I think this is good. You want ground meat. You want to mimic what it's like if you put meat through a grinder. It's not regular. It's different pieces, different size pieces of meat. And now you mix. Now Ed used to make these things massive. I'm trying to keep it under control here. It's pretty big. And then a hot pan. And a little bit of pepper, a little bit of onion. The fat from the sausage is going to take care of that. Obviously, you don't need any olive oil or any other fat in the pan. This sausage patty is 25 to 30% fat, so you will see. We will get some fat in here. It's going to be nice. So it's not as egregious an amount of fat as you might think. We're ready to turn here. And another 4 or 5 minutes will be done. Now, I'm not super uptight about well done pork, but this, as it happens, I cooked this well done, but it's about 10 minutes total, a little bit less if you're not worried. A word about the hard roll. When I was a kid, we had these things in New York called hard rolls that were actually hard rolls. That is, they were crusty rolls, sort of like the rosettes that you get in Rome. Now they're soft, mushy things. So I've taken the liberty of toasting this a bit in the oven to get some crunch in there. It's a nice looking sandwich, wouldn't you say? There's the fat. Oh man, this is so great, and I have to say, I'm going to use more garlic next time. Thank you, Ed.